X-Revolution, brothers and sisters. It is I, your fearless leader and king, X. I know I told you I would only come to you once a week with weekly updates about what's going on your planet, but I am coming to you early now. In fears of the coronavirus. The coronavirus is mutating. This has already started in Iran, and the coronavirus is becoming airborne. I also feel that birds are infected with the coronavirus, and that is going to be another big reason for the coronavirus. Disease X, as I'm going to start calling it, and not the coronavirus, because that's in fact what it is, Disease X. Disease X will wipe out millions and millions of people, man, and that is no joke. All of you are the X-Revolution, every one of you, even government. You are all the X-Revolution. But right now, I'm going to let you get your recap, and then I will be back to let you know what this video is all about. So here is your recap about Disease X. By the way, I am on lockdown in a bunker. I'll tell you more about that when we come back, or when I come back.
We have over 750 people in Washington now under supervision for the coronavirus. This is just an update, as they say. They have added over 30 other people to this list in Washington state.
Surrounding the coronavirus, there are confirmed cases in nearly 30 countries and more than 2,100 people dead. Among those fatalities, 2 are passengers on that cruise ship in Japan. You can see it there live as we learn more about the conditions on board and the crew's inability to successfully quarantine, even as more passengers are being allowed to
On the coronavirus, and I'll start, as I often do, with statistics. The number of confirmed cases in China is over 74,000, the number of deaths over 2,100. But it's more complicated than that. First of all, those who die at home aren't counted. And then there's this from the BBC Stephen McDonald saying, would you believe that Hubei, which is right at the centre of the crisis, has gone back to the old way of counting? Well, what Stephen's talking about is that last week, Hubei changed how it diagnosed the virus, and that caused a huge jump in. North Korean state media outlets continue to claim the regime is unaffected by the virus, but some watchers believe otherwise, that it's highly possible the reclusive state is already facing the epidemic, and the situation poses a challenge to Kim Jong-un's drive towards self-sufficient economic growth.
Spread the coronavirus before they're even aware that they're infected, so experts say public awareness is crucial to containing it. Our Kim Bo-kyung tells us more.
Worries are increasing as COVID-19 quickly spreads through community transmission. Doctors are concerned about the virus spreading before patients are diagnosed. According to the Korean National Clinical Management Network for Emerging Infectious Disease, COVID-19 is shown to be more infectious in its early stages during first 3 to 5 days of infection when people have only mild symptoms or no symptoms at all.
Health officials seem to think it is only a matter of time until the coronavirus starts to spread through communities here in the United States. The Centers for Disease Control says it is preparing medical personnel on how to contain the spread of its flu-like illness. So far, 34 coronavirus cases have been confirmed in the U.S., but there have been more than 76,000 worldwide, the vast majority in China. And overnight, there was a huge surge of cases in South Korea. More than 2,200 people around the world have died.
Can you tell us what else you know at this stage?
Well, we do know that there has been a second victim on Saturday morning. The authorities said a 75-year-old woman is said to have died in the northern region of Lombardy. There are supposed to be some 36 cases now in that region, as well as 9 cases in the Veneto region, also in northern Italy. That's the region where that 78-year-old man is said to have died on Friday. Now, a dozen or so towns, as you mentioned, also on lockdown. That means no gatherings, no demonstrations, schools, businesses, restaurants, all shut. Even carnival celebrations, because of course this is the period of carnival here in Italy. They've been cancelled in certain towns. Hospitals where they are concerned about possible cases, the patients and health workers are blocked there. There are reports coming out from certain hospitals where the health workers are tired. They are concerned about what's going to be happening, but everyone there is being tested. Now, the first particular case of this who's said to have contracted this COVID-19 virus is said to be a 38-year-old man who contracted it because he was in contact with another man that is said to have traveled from China to Italy, and they met in January.
We begin here with ominous new signs in the coronavirus story. The World Health Organization now warning that the window to contain the outbreak is quickly closing and that we could soon be looking at a global pandemic.
The virus now spreading to new countries in the Middle East and in northern Italy. Officials are suspending public gatherings and closing schools after 19 new cases were identified.
But the largest cluster of the illness outside of China is in South Korea, where officials are reporting an 8-fold jump in new cases in the past.
We have word that California health officials have now said they want 7,600 people that have returned to their state after visiting China to quarantine themselves at home this month to try to stop the spread of this virus. So we have 7,600 people who are being told that they need to monitor their health, they need to stay indoors, limit their interactions with other people. A month, 30 days, they're saying here.
The growing fears over the coronavirus, health officials warning we could be on the brink of a global pandemic. New hot zones reported outside of China, hundreds of cases now in South Korea, and the virus spreading in Europe, and new warning signs tonight for Americans.
Today, Japan, South Korea, and Iran reported a sharp spike in coronavirus cases as the World Health Organization warns that the window for stopping the epidemic is narrowing. Globally, more than 78,000 people are infected. Nearly 2,500 have died. Deborah Pata is in Tokyo.
Japan has come under fire for bungling the quarantine on board the Diamond Princess. The ship is the site of the largest cluster of infections outside.
Affected areas in southeast Korea, the city of Daegu and neighboring Cheongdo County remain at a virtual standstill. 2 mass clusters of infections account for the majority of cases reported so far. One of them at this hospital quickly spread, infecting more than 100 patients and staff.
In another uptick in cases there.
Yeah, that's right, Eva. And South Korea's president has just put the country on code red. That's its highest alert for infectious diseases, saying officials should take, quote, unprecedented, powerful steps to fight a major outbreak of COVID-19 in the country that just continues to spread.
Okay, now that you're all caught up, let me go ahead and tell you why I have made this video. I, your fearless leader and king, ruler of this world, X, am hereby issuing a worldwide mandatory lockdown of everyone. Everyone. Normally I would wait until there was 100,000 cases. There is almost 80,000 cases. Why wait? I am fearful that this disease that you call the coronavirus, that I call disease X, because that is exactly what it is, disease X. The X means eradicate. It will exterminate a lot of people. Okay? Because there is no cure for it. No vaccines. I fear that it is mutating and becoming airborne. I also fear that the birds are infected and soon to be in warmer climates. Insects such as mosquitoes. They will be carrying it and transmitting it to other animals, to humans. This is why I order the mandatory lockdown. As of right now, today, February 23rd, 2020, at 9:42 p.m., King X, the leader of the X Revolution and of the entire planet, am ordering a mandatory lockdown of the entire world known as Earth. I hope you heed my warning, and I suggest you do as I have done and lock yourself down somewhere. I have a bunker I'm locked down in. I have issued the closest of my, ex-revolutionary type community circle, which you are all ex-revolution. I have ordered them on lockdown. They have their bunkers. We don't share bunkers here because you don't want to run out of food, okay? We don't come out of our bunkers. If you're locked down, you're locked down until further notice, okay? So I suggest if you have the money to invest in a bunker or some type of shelter or something, a bunker is the best. Something underground or something in a cave. And stock it up with food, meds, whatever you need, and get in it so you can survive this. Because otherwise there's going to be no survival of this disease when it starts mutating. And it's going to start mutating fast. I, your fearless leader, King X, have warned you of all of these things. Yet you deny to listen. I know a lot of you are saying, I can't go on lockdown, I have a job. But see, that's not going to matter because this disease called X is going to cause a worldwide economic collapse. Money's going to be no good anymore. And the governments, I'm going to tell you this and then I'm going to go. The governments are going to think that they can take care of this problem by eliminating, the infected, however means that be. And I wouldn't put it past them to start moving infected people to some remote location somewhere. And, well, you know what'll come after that. I'll just go ahead and spell it out for you. They'll drop nuclear warheads. Or drop some type of a bomb on the infected. Because that's what your governments do. That's not what the X-Revolution does. We order lockdowns. Go lock yourself down. Stay away from other people. Unless you have a family that you're locked down with, that's fine. Here, we lock down on our own. You can have a couple family members in your bunker. That's about it. So please, be safe, people. And please remember that you are all the X-Revolution. And if, here in this bunker, I have a landline. I can get internet in. If the internet goes out, I know something has happened. And I'll come out eventually. And we'll probably meet up somewhere. I'm your fearless leader and king. You are the X-Revolution. And I bid you, you do. You do. Now here's a little something just to show you that what I have been saying all along seems to be coming true. And I'll see you again next week. Unless something happens. Coming from the bunker, of course, because I will not be leaving this place for a while. Be safe, people. I bid you, you do. King X out.
Coronavirus update. So experts worldwide are starting to suspect this is more like SARS than the regular flu, which a lot of people have been saying for a long time. There's reports that it may be mutating in China and Iran. Iran seems to have a very high death rate for the number of cases so far. There's scientists in Canada and China who are now saying that the incubation period for this is nearly a month long, and there's reports coming from autopsies in China that are showing severe organ damage from COVID-19, very similar to what SARS did. Even though World Health Organization is warning that this may quickly morph to be more deadly, and as reports from China and Iran are starting to emerge about a possible mutation, it's definitely looking worse than what we knew just even a week ago. There's also a new report out on the death of Li Wenliang, the 34-year-old eye doctor in China who first discovered it. You can see everything they did to try to save him, including antibodies, oxygen, and ECMO machine, and it still wasn't enough. So that's really worrying that this doctor from China who discovered it was only 34 years old. He had no previous symptoms, and he was healthy. He was a healthy doctor, and he knew about this, yet he still died with world-class medical treatment given to him. There's over 30 cases so far in Italy, including 2 deaths. The deaths were from 2 elderly people, so
I mean, at least it's not young people, which would be worse. But it's very worrying that there's about 150 people in Italy, including healthcare workers, under isolation. And this is much like what SARS did. It spread rapidly in hospitals. And Italy went from just a few days ago to 0 deaths, 0 cases, to 2 deaths and over 30 confirmed cases, with over 150 in isolation now. Italy is the first European country to have its own citizens on its land die of COVID-19. And as this happens, America and the CDC are preparing for a possible pandemic. The FBI has ordered over $40,000 of hand sanitizer, and America is now starting to take steps to prepare for this. Some of the people returning from these cruise ships were put on board with 300 healthy passengers, and our President Donald Trump was extremely mad about that, and rightfully so. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, I think you can agree that that was a huge mess up to put 14 infected people on a plane with 300 healthy people, and he was not aware of this until it was reported in the media. The World Health Organization continues to condone travel between Africa and China. They continue to sit idle while this has turned from an epidemic in China into a worldwide pandemic. They've taken no procedures at all. They still recommend international travel to and from China. In fact, recently, many African countries had reached out to the WHO to see if they should continue flights, including Ethiopian Airlines, and WHO is still recommending international travel between Africa and China, with hundreds of flights every week between the two countries. It's my opinion that there is likely an outbreak in Africa. South Africa, Kenya, and Northern Africa are the places where Chinese usually fly to, and there's estimated to be over 1 million Chinese in Africa. 253 people remain on the Diamond Princess off the coast of Japan. It's unclear when the rest of the crew and passengers will be let off, but experts around the world agree that Japan had messed the quarantine up, with everybody leaving the ship going back to their home countries having to restart a 14-day quarantine. So in the last couple of days, Iran went from no cases at all to 5 deaths to nearly 800 suspected cases and thousands being placed in isolation. There are a lot of reports and rumors coming from Iran that the death toll is actually much higher than 5. Scientists and experts are starting to wonder if this has somehow mutated in Iran, making the death toll much higher and the fatality rate extraordinarily higher than the 2 to 3% that's being reported in Asia. In Ukraine, protests have erupted after the government brought back evacuees that are not confirmed cases and supposedly healthy back to Ukraine. Local villagers have thrown Molotov cocktails and severely injured one policeman. Because of the lack of responsibility and urgency from the WHO, more and more things like this are happening, and people are losing trust in the authorities and WHO. North Korea has no reported cases, but rumors of burning bodies persist. Officially, South Korea has the most confirmed cases outside of mainland China. However, I suspect Iran may even have more than South Korea. We'll have to wait and see.